So millions of us are using ChatGPT pretty much every single day. But let's be honest, for most of us, it's basically a magic box. You type something in and poof, this incredibly human-like answer just appears. But how? Today, we're going to pop open that lid and see exactly how the magic really works. And just to give you a sense of the scale here, we're talking about over 100 million people using this thing. I mean, they're asking it questions, getting it to write their emails, even create computer code. It has just exploded into our digital lives, almost overnight. Which, leads us to the big question. When you type in a sentence and you hit enter, what is actually happening in that split second before an answer comes back? Let's take a look under the hood. Okay, so the whole journey starts with your prompt. And the very first problem is that computers, well, they don't get words. They only speak the language of math. So the first job is always translation, turning our words into their numbers. Here's the whole process in a nutshell. First, your prompt gets broken into these tiny pieces. Then those pieces are converted into numbers. And only then does the AI's brain get to work using those numbers to predict what it should say next. Let's break that down a bit more. So that first step is all about breaking your sentence into little bits called tokens. You can think of them like puzzle pieces. A single big word, like unbelievable, might even become 2 or 3 separate tokens. This is how the machine first starts to digest our language. Okay, next up, each of those little tokens gets a long list of numbers assigned to it. The technical name is a vector, but really just think of it as a numerical ID card for that piece of a word. And what's so clever about this is that words with similar meanings, like happy and joyful, they get very similar numbers. And that's how the AI starts to learn the relationships between words. So all those numbers get fed into the real brain of ChatGPT, which is something called a transformer. The best way to picture it is like a skyscraper. The lower floors are figuring out simple stuff, like basic grammar. But as the information travels up, the higher floors start processing more complex ideas, context, and even what feels like a sense of logic. And here is the transformer's real superpower. It's a mechanism called attention. See, unlike us, it doesn't read from left to right. It looks at every single word in your prompt at the exact same time. This lets it see all the relationships between all the words instantly, even if they're far apart in a sentence. It gets the whole picture at once. So that brings us to the next obvious question, right? How did this brain get so smart in the first place? I mean, where did all of this knowledge actually come from? Well, the answer is training. During its development, ChatGPT basically read a huge portion of the internet. We're talking billions of books, articles, websites, way more text than any single human could ever read in 1,000 lifetimes. But it wasn't just memorizing all this information. Not at all. Instead, it was learning patterns. By analyzing all of that text, it was learning which words are most likely to show up next to other words. It was learning the statistical rhythm, the beat of human language. And right here, this is the biggest secret to how all of this works. At its very, very core, ChatGPT is just a next word prediction engine. When it's generating a response, it isn't thinking of an answer. It's making a highly educated statistical guess about the most likely word to come next, and then the next one and the one after that. Honestly, the best way to think about it is as the most sophisticated autocomplete on the entire planet. If you type "the sky is," it predicts blue, simply because in the mountain of data it trained on, blue was the word that followed that phrase millions and millions of times. It just keeps doing that, one word at a time, to build its entire answer. But as it turns out, just predicting the next word wasn't quite enough. Left to its own devices, this kind of raw pattern matching could cause some serious problems. And that's why it needed a second round of training, this time with human teachers. You see, these early models, they understood language patterns, but they had no clue about human values. So they'd often spit out answers that were factually wrong, made no sense, or were even, toxic. They needed to learn what we humans consider a good answer. So the creators brought in actual human teachers. The process is called reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF for short. And it's basically what it sounds like. Huge teams of people would ask the AI questions, and then they'd grade its answers. If the AI gave a helpful, accurate, and safe answer, it got a kind of digital thumbs up, a reward. If its answer was unhelpful or unsafe, it got a penalty. And after doing this millions of times, the AI learned to steer its predictions toward the kinds of answers that we humans actually prefer. And this brings us to a final and really important distinction. We've seen how ChatGPT predicts language, but does it actually understand what it's saying? The short answer is no. ChatGPT is a master of finding statistical patterns in language. The human mind is totally different. When you or I hear the word apple, we connect it to memories of taste, the color red, the feeling of Christmas, the whole concept of a fruit. The AI doesn't do any of that. Even its own creators are really clear about this. ChatGPT does not know what the sun is. It has no concept of a star or heat. It only knows that based on billions of examples it's seen, the words hot and bright are statistically very, very likely to show up near the word sun. It's all just incredibly complex pattern matching, not understanding. So let's just boil this all down. What are the key takeaways? First, at its heart, ChatGPT is a super powerful next word prediction engine. Second, it learned everything it knows by finding statistical patterns in just massive amounts of text. Third, and this is a big one, it creates new text. It's not a search engine. And most important of all, it predicts, but it doesn't think or understand the way a person does. And that kind of leaves us with one last thought. This incredible piece of technology learned everything it knows by studying us, our words, our ideas, our stories, even our biases. It's a reflection of our collective language, which really raises an important question. What exactly are we teaching it?